Today I'm going to make a video showing you how to make penne pasta. I'm making this video because I have a friend I went to college with that can't read directions. So I need to show him how to do this on video. His name is Ron from Aberdeen. Ron graduated towards the top of his class in law school, but I think that's because he sat beside me in most of the classes that we went to together. So Ron, you need to chop up a medium red onion and put it in a pan with a little bit of olive oil and butter. And cook those red onions until they get clear. Then you should cut up all of your ingredients before you make this dish. You cut up 2 pounds of chicken breast, a pound of andouile sausage. I'll have to spell that for Ron in the description in this video. Then you'll want to add a little bit of, and I should say that I'm going to have my Parrot Zazoo assist us in this video. And Zazoo, what do we have to add to the onions? Correct, Zazoo, pepper. And I like to put in about a half a teaspoon of pepper to the onions, and the butter, and an ounce or so of olive oil. And let that cook for a little bit. Before you start preparing all this stuff, Ron, you should boil some water on the oven, so by the time you get the rest of the stuff in the pan and cooking, your water will come to a boil. Ron, on your oven there might be a dial, or you have to push a button and get it all the way up to high. Once you have your onions cooking for a little bit, you can add your 2 pounds of chicken breast. Zazoo, would you rather have penne pasta or a cracker? So then add your 2 pounds of chicken breast. And you're still cooking that on high. And then I previously cut up a pound of andouille ring sausage. And for you, Ron, it's spelled A-N-D-O-U-I-L-L-E. This is what makes the dish. This particular one is from Klemmers. Then I like to add some Tones Cajun seasoning. This is a 1 ounce container. I usually use about 1/2 of one of these containers and dump that all over the chicken. And Ron, while you're watching this video, if you have any problems, I'm sure your wife will assist you. I'm going to put in a little bit more of this Cajun seasoning. And I think I've got that going pretty good. Now I'm going to add the pound of the andouille sausage, stir that up and cover it. And I'll let that cook for a while. I'm going to shut off the video, and when I think that the chicken and the andouille sausage is done, I'll show you what the next steps are at that point in time. Zazoo, is there anything you want to say to our YouTube friends before we come back? Now the reason that I'm using my female parrot Zazoo to assist in making this video is because my friend Ron has a short attention span. I've heard some people say that he might have ADD, so I talked to a couple doctor friends of mine, and they said if I used a parrot and interspersed that throughout this video, that it would help Ron pay attention to the video. Zazoo, do you love Sonny? Zazoo, what would you say if you saw a boy parrot? Now I've had this cooking here for about 5 minutes or so, and it's getting pretty close to done. It's getting a little bit of juice in it. When I think it's cooked far enough, then I'm going to add a can of chicken broth. You can use a can of Swanson's chicken broth. And I think that's cooked long enough, so we can add that. You can add the whole can. You can always thicken it up later by adding a little bit of flour. Now Ron, these pans are hot, so you should really use one of these gloves here so you don't burn your hand. And you should keep the handle inside so you don't have one of your kids come up and grab it. So I'm going to add this whole can of chicken broth and cover it again and let that cook for a while until it boils. And then I'll restart the video. Now I've had the chicken and the andouille sausage and Swanson's chicken broth cooking for a couple minutes covered. I'm going to cook it for a couple more minutes uncovered to make sure that's all done. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask Zazoo, what would you think if I invited Ron over to our house and Ron gave you a kiss? I'm going to add a pint of Swanson's or Land O'Lakes all natural heavy whipping cream. I'm going to add the whole pint to that, and I'll thicken that up with some flour. I'm going to pour that in, and I'm going to let that come to a boil, and then I'm going to turn it down to medium heat. Once I add the heavy whipping cream, this will thicken up here in about 12 minutes, and that's how long it's going to take to cook the penne pasta. So I'm going to add the penne pasta to the water, And I'm going to put a little salt in there. I suppose about a tablespoon or so. Usually a box of this penne will be enough. I'm going to add a little bit more today because I've got some kids coming over that would rather have buttered noodles. So I'm going to add probably another, well, 1/4 of the box or so. Put the timer on for about 12 minutes. That's 1200, Ron. And then hit start and it'll count down for you. That came to a boil, so I'm going to turn down the heat to medium. That's about 5, Ron. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper. And I'm going to turn off the video for a second. We'll come back in about 5 minutes. Actually, I had to come back a little bit earlier because I have to tell you a story about Ron. As I told you earlier, Ron followed me, or actually sat beside me in most of the classes that we took, and I caught him looking over my shoulder quite a bit. And I think that's why he did so well in at least all the classes he was in with me. But if there was ever a day where I was sick, Ron had a hard time finding any of the classes that started with a C. And we took constitutional law, criminal procedure, and civil procedure. And Ron could recognize the first letter, but it was always hit and miss. He went in the classroom. If he was going to criminal procedure, he might walk into constitutional law by mistake. Now I've had this sauce cooking for about 5 minutes. I'm going to start adding some flour. Ron, this is the same stuff I had in the fishing trip. I hope you didn't put anything in there. And just start taking a little bit and then work that in there until the sauce gets to a consistency that you like. Turn up the heat a little bit. Now I am concerned that my friend Ron will be confused by a penny and penne pasta, so I would like to demonstrate to him the difference between the two. Ron, this is a penny. It's kind of coppered color and circular, and this is a penne pasta noodle. Now Zazoo, I can't find the cat. Zazoo, can you help me find the cat? Now Ron, if the water starts to boil over the top of your pan like it is here, you can turn the heat down a little bit. You should stir your penne pasta a little bit so they don't stick together. My sauce is starting to thicken up pretty good. I'm going to add just a little more flour. Stir that in. 3 minutes, that should be thickened up. Now that's about done. You want the sauce to be not quite as thick as gravy. And I think that's pretty good consistency. Now what I would do is I'll just add the penne pasta to that sauce and mix it all together. And Ron, I think that's what you can do, or you should do. Some people might like to just get some penne pasta noodles on a plate and get a spoon and dump some of the sauce on the noodles. That might be kind of a difficult step for Ron. So Ron, I would suggest you just mix them all together and serve it. Thanks for watching. And Zazoo, is there anything you want to say to all the people watching this video?
Bye. Bye.
Ron, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you were able to keep your attention on all the instructions. I will put them in writing so you can try to follow along with the written instructions and the video. Now Ron, I've drained the penne noodles. You want to make sure you get the water out of there, because if you add the sauce to the noodles still in the water, it'll be awful runny. So I'm using a heavy pan here. So I'm going to dump in the penne, or the chicken andouille sausage mixture, into my penne pasta. Stir that up. And this dish is served best hot. So once it comes off the pan, and you mix it together, it's a good time to eat it. It will put some sweat on your brow. And this particular batch that I made can probably serve 8 people. Now I apologize for coming back after saying goodbye, but because I don't want Ron to be confused, even though the total length of this video may show 5 minutes, Ron, this actually probably took about a half an hour. I know that the clock was visible in the camera frame during most of the video, but Ron, I did stop and start the video a number of times, so no, you can't make this meal in 5 or 6 minutes. It takes about a half an hour for your wife. For you, it might take an hour or 2. I would suggest, Ron, that you start cutting up the meat and the andouille. The meat and the andouille sausage a day or 2 ahead of time, and then you should be able to make it in about an hour or so. But when I saw you on our fishing trip, you told me that your wife helps you, so if she helps you, I'm pretty confident you can probably make this in a half an hour.
Dad, videotape us eating.
And Ron, one last thing. I was wearing my suit because I'm pretty comfortable making this without getting dirty. But if I was you, I would, put on my outside mowing the grass clothes. Okay, do you guys like Sonny's Cajun Penne Zazoo Parrot Pasta?
Yes.
Okay. What's your favorite meal that your dad cooks?
Penne pasta.
Fleischküchler or penne pasta?
That's a hard one.
Okay.
I can't choose. They're all so good.
And that's what the final dish, the Cajun Penne Zazoo Parrot Pasta, looks like when it's done. I hope you like it.